Hey, how we doing, government class? Welcome back. It's Wednesday, hump day, March, what do we got? 3-3, March 3rd, 2021. Hope you're having a good week so far. Check it out. A few things on the skillet today. We got a last class review. We're going to talk about how a bill becomes a law. Two vocab words you should know right there, a bill and a law. We're going to talk about that process, or at least the first half of it. I'll give you your attendance and your assignment, but also important, just a reminder, on Friday, we have a weekly review quiz that's going to serve as a major test. We have major tests before and after spring break, and spring break's next week, right? So, we got to do a major test. It's nothing crazy. It's everything that we've done in the past. Nothing new. We're going to have a weekly review quiz. It's going to be the same as always, but it will serve as your major test. So instead of giving you a weekly review quiz and a major test, I'm just going to give you that weekly review quiz, and we're going to call it the major test. Does that make sense? Hope so. That's what we got going on Friday, all right? So make sure you're here for Friday. If you're not, you can't make up the major tests, all right? And that goes for all of your classes. Hopefully all of your teachers have told you that. If you are gone for major tests, you can't make them up. You get a big, right there, goose egg, a 0, nada, nothing. You get a 0. So make sure that you are here on Friday and that you come back and you're here on Monday for all your classes after spring break. All right, now, quick, last class review. Last class, we talked about congressional leadership and some specific people. We talked about the leader of the House of Representatives. What's their title? Speaker of the House. And who is it? Nancy Pelosi. Good. We talked about the majority party and the minority party. And if you have more members of one party in a specific house, that's called the majority party. Then they have leaders for both the majority and minority. The leader of the Senate is actually the Vice President of the United States. But when they're not there, the person who's in charge is called the Senate pro tempore. There you go. Good job. This is all stuff that might be on your test on Friday. Or I mean your weekly review quiz, absolutely. We've got our minority leader of the Senate. We've got that turtle-looking man, Mitch McConnell. We've got the majority leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer. We have the minority leader in the House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy. Got them all. Have all these people. All right, that's what we talked about in class. Before we were talking about things like the benefits of being a member of Congress, the salary, $174,000 per year. That's a lot of money. We were talking about how we have congressional elections every 2 years, how 33% of the members of the Senate are up for re-election every 2 years. It's called staggered terms. How every member of the House of Reps is up for election every 2 years, and that year in between the presidential election years where there's no presidential election is called a midterm year. Hopefully that gets your mind jogging back in the swing of things of government. Let's see what we got today. We said how a bill becomes a law. All right, this is a process. Oh my God, it's a huge process. So what we've done is we've given you a graphic organizer for you to fill out. Just the first half today. I sent it to you in your email this morning at about 8 o'clock, so you should have it. Go check your email. If you don't have it, then something's wrong with you or your computer, because I sent it. It's there. Pause the video if you need to. Make sure you got a piece of pencil and that paper. Print it out. Use it on the computer. Type in whatever you need to do. We're going to be taking notes on that graphic organizer today and filling not the whole thing, but the whole left side out. So a lot of important stuff to cover. Make sure you have that piece of paper either digitally or printed out in front of you from your email. And we'll go ahead, get to work on that puppy now. All right, this is the sheet that you guys should have in front of you, whether printed out on your computer or on your phone. Go ahead, we'll see if we can't get rid of that, get a little more space. Beautiful, there we go. Now, first things first, we call this the legislative process. And what you want to know is when we say the legislative process, we need to remember that to legislate means to make laws. So to make a law, you first have to introduce a bill. A bill is a law that just hasn't been approved yet. Think of it as how you are a kid and soon you'll be an adult. All right, once you hit 18, you'll be an adult. Same way, a bill just hasn't gone through the process yet to become a law. In the same way, a kid hasn't gone through a process yet to become an adult. And what you can see is that there's some arrows with boxes that lead to the next step, the next step, the next step. There's a whole bunch that goes on for a bill to become a law. It's a long process. Most of the bills that try to become laws, never happens. Doesn't happen for them. In fact, a lot of them die. And that's right, they die. That's the terminology that we say. Bills die. And I'm going to show you all where. But we're going to start first with the left side, the House of Representatives. Now, I should be clear, for a bill to become a law, it does not have to start in the House. It could start in the Senate, but since the House is on the left side of our paper, we're going to go ahead and start with the House. The first thing I want you to do in here, and I think I'm going to write pretty small. Let's see if I need to change it. Maybe not. The bill is introduced by placing it in, I'm putting this in quotes, the hopper. That's what it's called. Now, first of all, only a member of the House can introduce a bill. But anybody can give that member of the House the idea. Anybody can write it, but it can only be introduced by placing it in the hopper. What is the hopper, you ask? Great question. This is a hopper right here. This is kind of a desk of a clerk that you would see in the House of Representatives. And first off, since we're talking about the House of Representatives, let's take a look at what we're looking at here. This is the room for the House of Representatives. All these seats filled. Now this looks like it's from a State of the Union address, where you'd have way, way, way more people than normal. Normally there's only going to be the 435 members if they're all there for work that day. A few other people helping out with different responsibilities, but this is what the House of Representatives looks like. And when they're doing their work, there's a desk for the clerk, and right here, this is called the hopper. And if you want a bill to be discussed and hopefully one day become a law, you put it in here, or you give it directly to the clerk who might be standing right behind here, and they will kind of introduce your bill and read it. Now, once it's introduced by placing it in the hopper, and you know what? Let's get some bullet points here, huh? Make it easier for us. Boom. After it's introduced by placing it in the hopper, the bill is actually given a number. And in the House, it's given something called an HR number. Put a little hashtag there. That means number. For example, a bill would be given a number HR, let's say 170. And that's the title of this bill. And the HR stands for House Resolution. And 170 is the number of the bill that's been put in this hopper in the current session of Congress. So, if you put the very first bill in the beginning session of Congress, let's say Congress just started today and you want to introduce a bill, and you put a bill in the hopper, it's actually going to be called HR 1. And the person after you, if they put in a bill, guess what that one's going to be called? That's right, HR 2, and so on and so forth. And in fact, since that's so important, let's go ahead and say that the number represents what number the bill is in the current session. Can you see that there? Let's see. If we have to, we'll make this a little bit bigger. There we go. And that's what happens first. That's the first part of a bill becoming a law. It has to be introduced. Once it's introduced, it goes to the subcommittee. What is a subcommittee? Well, what's a committee? A committee is basically a group of people that have one common thing in mind. They have maybe a task that they need to complete. And a subcommittee, sub means, low or below. It's an even smaller group. So let's put that there. It's a smaller version. Can you guys see? Let's move this up a little bit. There we go. A subcommittee is a smaller version of a committee that is designed to report back with advice on how to vote on a particular bill. So this subcommittee, they're a small group of people, and what they're going to do is they're going to take a look at this bill that was introduced, H.R. 2, and they're going to read it. And subcommittees are very specific. They have specific areas of expertise. So they're going to look, and they're going to go ahead and be like, is this a good bill? Is it a bad bill? And since they don't know everything, they get to do something very important. They get to conduct hearings and investigate the bill, meaning they get to ask many important people, experts, a whole bunch of people, whoever they want, they can have come testify in front of them. And that would look something like this. Now, this is an example of an entire committee, not a subcommittee, so it's going to be a little bit bigger. But these are all going to be members of the House of Representatives, and they'll investigate a bill, and they'll have hearings where they call people up. That's probably why this guy's here. And he's testifying under oath about what this bill means and what it will do. So maybe if you have a bill about, getting rid of trash or making sure everyone recycles, you'd have some environmental people come on in where you would actually get to subpoena them or call them in and ask for their testimony about a bill and ask them any questions that you want to try to get a better understanding. Now, this, maybe right over in this spot right here, I want you to put something, not in that spot, right over in here, wherever you're writing, or I guess even right here if you have the room. This is the first place we'll put 2 stars that the bill can die. Yikes. Right here in the committee, these guys, if they don't like the bill, they can just hold hearing after hearing after hearing. They don't even have to hold hearings. They can decide not to hold any hearings and just keep the bill stuck right here in subcommittee. And this is the first spot that a bill can die. Let's go ahead. Let's beef this up a little bit so it sticks out. All the places that a bill can die. Boom. We'll even bold it up. The bill can die right here. This is the first place we can ever have a bill die. However, if it doesn't die here, the subcommittee will report back to the committee, and the bill lives on. What happens in the committee? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Let's go ahead and can we type in here? There we go. Let's go. Boom. Get some more bullet points, and we'll raise up this committee so that we can see. Now, if the bill gets all the way to this committee, these people usually follow the advice. I'm in all caps again, I apologize. They usually follow the advice of the subcommittee. Whatever the subcommittee tells them to do, they're kind of like, okay, you know what, we trust you guys, you did your job. This is, going to take up more time. We'll trust whatever you say. We'll probably vote however you want us to vote. However, let's go ahead and get our red back. Let's get our bold back and go. Most bills die here. So this is just another spot that the bill can die. However, most of the time, a bill dies here. Maybe the committee says, hey, we don't like this bill. We want you guys to all vote no on it. So the committee, remember, this big group of people, after conducting their hearings, will go ahead and they'll vote on it. And if there's, let's say, 13 people in a committee, whoever has the majority wins. Most bills would die here. That's very important to remember. Now, we're in black. Let's go back to black. The committee votes on whether or not, gosh, you guys got to keep telling me I'm in all caps. I apologize. Committee votes on whether or not the full House of Representatives, meaning everybody, all 435 of them, should hear the bill. So they really don't get to vote yes or no and make it into a law. They just get to vote, hey, should the entire House, all 435 members of the House of Representatives, be able to listen to this bill before they vote on it? If they vote no, then again, the bill dies here. But if they vote yes,
it goes on, but not to the full House, at least not yet. Also, before we get to this Rules Committee, this is where most of the work is done. The subcommittee and the committee, this is where most of the work gets done on bills. When they create bills and turn them into laws, most of the work gets done in committee or subcommittee. If it makes it through those two spots, it goes to something called the Rules Committee. Let's do some typing in our Rules Committee. Boom. Now, in the Rules Committee, what do you think they do? Well, of course, they set the rules. But what are we talking about? And we got to move this up again, don't we? Rules Committee. What kind of rules do they set? Well, they set the rules for how long a bill can be debated. Now, that might seem funny. They might say, you might be thinking to yourself, what do you mean how long it can be debated? People need to talk. Well, remember, there are 435 members in the House of Representatives. Think about if everybody wanted to talk about the bill. Even if that's 1 minute per person, 435 divided by 60 gives us 7.25 hours. That's 7 hours and 15 minutes if everybody just talks for 1 minute. Hopefully that's not the case, but an example here might be saying, you know what, the maximum amount of time a person can talk is 15 minutes. So you get to talk for 15 minutes about the bill, whether you think it's good and how everybody should vote. And that's it. Once you're done, your time is up. Now, they also have another type of rule that they might set, and this is a very important one. They set rules, not tools, rules for how many amendments, hey, that's a past vocab word that we should all know, can be added to a bill. Now, this is a huge issue. Let's say that one of you wanted to create a bill that says no school on Fridays. That's cool, that's great. However, once you get it to this point in the House, people will start thinking, you know what? That little student who came up with this idea of a bill for no school on Fridays, that's a good bill and everybody's going to vote yes for it. It's going to be a law for sure. So I want to add an amendment to the bill. And remember, what's an amendment? It's a change or an addition. So they say everybody's going to vote yes on this. So what I'm going to do, since I'm a representative of the state of Colorado, is I'm going to add an amendment that says, yes, school should be canceled on Fridays, but also citizens in Colorado should get a 10% raise on their job salary, no matter what. And people are like, wait, what? You can't do that. That has nothing to do with this bill. You're just trying to get people to like you. And you're trying to add this amendment on? So people do this all the time, and it's not a good thing. That's why sometimes when you set the rules for how many amendments you can add, they'll say, you know what? 0 amendments may be added to this bill. This bill is exactly what it is. It is simply to say no school on Fridays. You can't add anything to it. Now, once it gets through the Rules Committee and they have the rules for debate, it goes down to the full House, all 435 members. And what happens at the full House? Again, I'm glad that you asked. For the full House, we will go ahead, let's get our bullet points again. All the representatives that are there, that are present, discuss and debate the bill. Now remember, they'll have their certain amount of time that they can discuss and debate it. It may be 15 minutes, it may be 5. A lot of times it's very short and you'll get 60 seconds. Maybe somebody will give you some more time and you'll get 120 seconds. But you get to discuss and debate it. You must follow the rules. If you don't, there are people in charge who will cut off your microphone. They won't let you talk. They will absolutely not let you break the rules. Now we're going to get introduced to another vocab word here. If a quorum is present, if a quorum is present. Now what does quorum mean? Quorum means basically the absolute minimum amount of people you have to vote on a bill. Now remember, right here we said all reps that are present discuss and debate the bill. What if someone's sick? What if someone's on vacation? What if someone had a family emergency? They might not be in for work. So there's a rule that says you must have a quorum. And that means out of the 435 people, we have to have at least so-and-so to vote on a bill. In the House, that number, a quorum, is 218. You must have 218, and we'll even put in members that have to be present. And if there are 218 members, they think, okay, that's enough because it's just a little bit more than half. It's a majority. We're going to go ahead and we can vote on this bill. So if there's more, if a quorum is present, then the House votes on it. And basically, that's what they do is it's called the first quorum call, where it's simply a roll call. They see who's there. They make sure that they have those 218 members. And if a majority of members are present, they get to vote. It's as simple as that. So think of quorum basically as a majority. And after they go ahead and make sure they have 200 members, they all get a vote. If those members are all present and they can go vote, they'll go to every single person and ask for them to give either a yay or a nay. And we'll squeeze this open a little bit for you. Yay, of course, meaning yes. Nay, of course, meaning no. And every single person gets to vote that's a member of the House. Their votes are recorded so that everybody can see how they voted. And whoever has the most votes wins. Now, I should tell you one more thing. They can vote yay, they can vote nay, or they can also abstain. And that's basically not voting. Maybe they abstain, they don't want to, vote yes or no. They can abstain as well. If they're not present, they don't get to be a part of that vote. So again, this is another spot where we can write in red that a bill can die here. All right? Remember, if more people vote no than people vote yes, then the bill dies. Simple as that. Right here, it can die as well. So a lot of places that the bill can die, we'll give it the 2 stars as well. We'll make those 2 stars red. However, if it doesn't die here, that's good news. It's going to go not to conference committee. It's made it through the full House. That's only one measure. Then it's going to go all the way back up to the Senate. And I know you're thinking, Mr. Weckba, oh my gosh, we just did all of this on the left. We're going to do all of this on the right now? No, of course not. We're going to do that next class. So just remember that it has to go through the House. And once it does go through the House, it then must also go through the Senate. And we'll talk about the Senate on Friday. Now remember, if it starts in the Senate and not in the House, it would have to go through the Senate and then through the House as well. And we'll touch back on that on Friday. But for now, this is all you need for your notes today. In this conference committee part and these parts that went blind, the full House and full Senate, we'll talk about those on Friday as well. All right?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all you got to do for today. Your assignment is going to be to simply send me a picture of all of the work that we just put in to that graphic organizer. We will need it again for class on Friday. Yes, even though we have our weekly review quiz and our major test coming up on Friday, that's not all we're going to do. We're going to take that quiz and we're going to finish this puppy up as well. So we got a big day Friday before spring break. Remember, be here so that you can get credit. You can't make up the test. If you don't show up in any class, make sure you show up to all your classes on Friday and the Monday after spring break. I look forward to seeing you guys then. If you have any questions or need anything, as always, shoot me an email. But if not, we will see you on Friday before spring break. Take care.